Welcome back. I'm your host, Marquise, and welcome to Can I Get a Minute? My guest this week is an American bass guitarist and composer and a music lover. Styric is in the house, ladies and gentlemen. Give him a warm round of applause. Hey, thank you for taking time for hanging out with me today.
Oh, well, thank you so much for inviting me, man. I've been looking forward to this, and it's really, really cool to connect up,
Yeah, it's been a long time coming. And with that being said, Styric, can I get a minute?
Definitely.
All right. Yeah, that's the thing. I mean, I got to ask permission before we go into the interview. You might say no. You might say, yeah, I don't know. You might say, hey, no, pack it up and go home.
I'm here chilling out with one of my homeboys, right?
That's right, man. Yeah, we're going to get into that, man. But hey, man, tell people what's going on. Give us a short synopsis, man, because a lot of people may not be familiar with you. So give everybody a little short synopsis. Give my people, an idea of how all this came together.
Yeah, man. And so, it actually started at the doctor's office. He slapped me one time, but no, it actually, I grew up in Connecticut, and I'm living here in Nashville, and I was always, the bass. I was drawn to the bass, at an early age, and then a lot of, and I ran with a lot of cats, and we had the garage bands and playing out like little, clubs and stuff, and doing all that jazz, and one of my good friends, was one of my early influences, on a guy named Ron Lawrence, guitarist out of New Haven, and I don't know if you know of him. He's amazing. He was, he passed away some years ago, but he's was an amazing guitar player. Toured with, a lot of the Najee, and Kim Waters and a lot of those cats, and he actually showed me a lot of ropes, right? So I left Connecticut, went to Atlanta, and then got in that scene, right out of high school, man. And then I hooked up with an amazing drummer, Sonny Emery.
Okay.
Played with Earth, Wind and Fire.
Earth, Wind and Fire, yeah.
Yeah. And he said,
I know that name.
Yeah. And matter of fact, I stayed with his family, and his family took me under the wing, and I was playing in the church and kind of just doing music, what I've always really wanted to do. And we played, little private gigs and stuff like that. And like I said, the church. And then, when we fell in love and got married and moved to Nashville. So I was kind of doing, country clubs and, little things like that. And then I took a little break and went heavy into the corporate America thing. And that's where I, made a living for a while. And then fast forward the tapes to now, where I just finally, after doing music and, always kind of being the weekend warrior, as they say,
right,
had the opportunity finally to pull in some of these amazing musicians that I call close friends and say, hey, I want to do a project. And right at the beginning of the pandemic, I was able to drop some amazing tunes and had a lot of fun. And finally, it was just really, really just, one of those things that, it's a bucket list thing.
Now, the pandemic, of course, was a bad thing. But for a lot of people, this, like what we're doing right now, this pretty much spawned a lot of interviews online, kind of like connecting. Did that grace period during the pandemic, did that give you a chance to say, hey, look, man, I got a chance to put some stuff together. I got a chance to really slow down and really focus?
Yeah, David, man, that's exactly what happened. Right. I took a reprieve from my corporate world, and I just said, I've been writing tunes, and I was the guy with the recorder running down to Atlanta and grabbing ideas and going into a studio, and you're right, the internet and where we are in the technology, from a technology standpoint, has really made the world a lot smaller. Yes. And so I was able to really, really just focus, very laser beam focus on my music. Songs that I had, musicians, we all kind of got this boneyard, we call of songs that are like halfway done, fully done, right, half baked, if you get it right, you end up being collaboration. So we got, I literally have probably hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of songs. And these, there was these ones, I came up with a concept, and I may have shared that with you, as seasons. I said, right, I know out of all these, I can do at least 4 songs, just 4 seasons. And I just ended up just grabbing, 4 songs that I felt really, 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 really just really resonated with me. And through through connections, I ended up being in a session with just kind of listening as Kevin Whalen.
Okay.
A session here in Nashville, and he invited me to, and I was hanging out with him. And he, let me come in and just, kind of watch him do his thing, And I ended up connecting up with an amazing, which ended up becoming one of my producers, Roger Ryan. And he's toured with BBC Whining. He's done stuff with Take Six. I mean, he's done. He comes from the gospel cloth, but he is an amazing arranger and songwriter and just a beautiful person. So, that was kind of like the start of me kind of just really getting the music out and just sharing what I've had, I've been enjoying myself with the world,
So you get all these songs, right? You have all these songs together. Like I mentioned you before, I work with record companies, and then there's these plethora of songs, and musicians just keep going and going, and people are writing the songs. But for you, excuse me, but for you putting all these songs together, what was the deciding factor to say, look, I got to put something out? I got all these songs, like you're sifting through the ashes and, all these songs you put together. When was that defining moment in your life?
Well, yeah, I guess for me, it was a, it was an encouragement, from other musicians that just really just heard the music and just was like, this is something a little bit different,
right.
Because, we can get in sort of a music. There's a lot of amazing musicians out there. A lot of beautiful music, but I felt I had something special, a little bit different to share with the world. And as I, sometimes, you think you can be a little biased, say, well, my song is really good, right? But when I got affirmation from some of the guys that are really out there and just saying, hey, keep it real, and then some of the musicians that I invited in and I asked kind of, would you play on my project? They're little, what if they, I've been told, if I put my name on it, it needs to be a certain level.
Right. Oh, I've heard that before.
Yeah. And so, and being able to get that nod, I was like, well, I think I have something here. And, and I felt good, and I felt that I'm going to put my time, my money, my resources, my heart, mind, and soul, and emotion behind these songs.
Right.
And I still, to this day, because that project dropped almost 2 years ago, my first project.
Right.
And still to today, it's still getting more, and it's growing more, and more radio stations are playing my music, and more outlets and streaming, platforms are embracing it. So it's just really just it's offered another facet that I think, and I've gotten feedback from listeners and followers that says, hey man, this is really good stuff.
Oh, it is.
More, that's
it really is.
For more material, which is a compliment. And I look forward, and I'm forward to sharing more and more of the songs and taking them on that journey.
Cool. Hey, Styric, while we're talking, your website is up on the screen. So the people that watch the show, they love to go to the website and read up on you while we're in this conversation right now.
Yes.
And you have a current project out right now that you recently sent me, and I'm gonna let you tell it, man, because I think it's beautiful. I love it. We're playing it on Jazz Mix 95.
Awesome.
And you sent it to me, and I was like, okay, I got to get him on. And we got it on. It's playing currently. But there's also a video to the song, too, which is on Vimeo and YouTube via Vimeo. So, yeah. The video is really good, too. And that's on our website. So we posted it on our website, and we put the cover. But when you sent that to me, I'll let you tell it. This is your story.
Well, yeah, man. That song, which is a really special song, because right prior to that, I was shifting because it was kind of a smooth. I was doing I call it instrumental R&B because it's not smooth jazz because it's got a little bit more spice and things going on with it. So, my last song that I dropped was a Brother Johnson cover. So and I got a lot of encouragement. Do more of that, because I'm a funk player by heart. But that particular song over the last year and a half, it sort of wrote itself. It was actually my daughter. I have a daughter that lives out in California, and she would come home to Nashville, and she would lay on this little couch behind me, and I'll be in here kind of little away, kind of, coming up with ideas, laying tracks. And she looked up and said, hey, I like that. And I was like, cool. I'm kind of working that out. fast forward the tape, and a year and a half later, she's back home, and she comes home probably once or twice a year. And the bridge came to me, and I ended up writing that, and I was like, "What do you think? Remember this?" And she was like, "Yeah." So she ended up, saying, "Yeah, that's a beautiful tune." And so fast forward, I ended up going and actually recording the song, a demo, and then I reached out to a really dear friend of mine called Andreas Strowski. He lives out in Argentina, and he's an amazing bassist. And for me to go hire a bassist, because I'm like, hey, I got the bass, I got that, I got that covered. But this guy is just amazing. So I reached out to him, and we crossed paths, a couple of years ago, and befriended each other. And he said, "Yeah, man, I'd love to be on the tune with you." So we collabed and got on the tune. And then I have a guy named Joshua Lutz that's on almost all my tracks. Did a really nice acoustic guitar piece. And so my daughter's name is Elise.
Right.
And so I named the song For Elise because Beethoven has a song called For Elise, but F-U-R. Mine's
Ringing the bell on that one.
L-Y-S-E. And her birthday was last Friday when it dropped. 2/3.
Oh, wow.
23, and she was traveling over in Thailand, and we did a same time video call at midnight when it dropped, and I said, "Hey, check out this website and check out this song," and she was totally speechless. And that's her on the actual cover.
That is her on the cover. So yeah, when you go there to check him out, or you go to our website, you will see his daughter. And I saw the cover, and I was like, "Oh, that's a real cool cover, man." Just laid back, and then you told me that was your daughter. I was like, "Oh, keeping the fam in the game. I love it." Yeah, that was great.
Yeah. We were vacationing as a family in Atlanta. When I had rented a nice big home down there, and she was, and my sons, they actually in the video business. They've done, I mean, you name it, they've interacted with out in California, and they constantly taking pictures. And that one came up, and I was like, "That's the one."
That's it.
That's the one.
But you also told me that the video, when you check out the video, your sons put the video together.
That's right.
Man, that is a family business. I love that.
Yeah. Oh yeah, they've done all three. The first video was actually a gift. It was my first song. They did Palladium. I did a cover of Weather Report's song Palladium, and which is surprising. A dear friend of mine, there again, Chester Thompson, and love him like a brother, man. He's here in Nashville, and he did the drums on it, and he played with Weather Report. He toured with Wayne Shorter, and those guys, and so he did the drums, and we worked through it, and he gave me some really good feedback on and he really dug it, and then I ended up getting his percussionist that toured with Weather Report, Jose Rossi. He's on the track as well, right? So we did the song, and then the one that I tell you how the world gets smaller.
Yeah.
There's a steel pan player, probably well renowned, Andy Norell. You've heard of that guy?
I've heard of him. Oh yeah.
Yeah. He lives in France, and I reached out to him, and through the stars lining up, he said, "Yeah, I'll do the track as well."
So let me ask you this. You guys are doing the tracks, right? I mean, we're using the technology. We're on the crest of technology, and we're using it to our advantage. So they're recording those tracks because there's a lot of people that watch this show, like inspiring musicians. So you guys they're recording it in France and sending it to you.
That's correct.
That's how we do it. Okay, good. Okay.
Yeah. And that's a true global project.
That is.
I've had calls and conversations with Andy Norell, but I've never sat in a room with him. I'd love when he tours, if he gets on the road, to be able to connect up with him, maybe do the song one day live. But he lives in Paris, over in France, so there, and the percussionist lives in Texas. The piano player, which he's been in my studio and we've played before, he lives in New York, and the drummer lives probably another 20 minutes outside of Nashville. So,
wow.
And so we kind of but the technology allows you to line things up, and and the mixing engineer is in Chicago, and the mastering engineer was here in Nashville.
Wow, dude, that is the definition of teamwork right there.
Yeah.
You can't, that is amazing how that comes together, by using technology. So, hey, where can my people find your music at?
Oh, you can find my music on, it's real easy, Styric, STYRIC.com.
There it is.
Go there, and
it's up on the screen there. So
yeah, it has all the links to my videos, to my music, has some bio on there. As far as backdrop on a little history on me, and then as far as my music's available on all platforms worldwide. 33 different platforms. Of course, Spotify, Pandora, iTunes. You name it, Tidal, and so you can get the music there and stream it. All the YouTube stuff. I do have my own Vevo channel, which is Styric, STYRIC Vevo, VEVO. You go there, and I have 3 videos thus far, which my sons have done. And my very first song, the Palladium, my sons and daughter wrote and directed that video, and they have Kim's dancer. Nia Hutchinson. She's dancing to Palladium and does the whole choreography and everything. So it's just a phenomenal job what she does, and she's just a beautiful person. And she did my early autumn situation. She did a little kind of a mini kind of like a dance routine to that song as well.
Hey, before we get out of here, I said we were going to talk about this, and I think the people should know about this. So this is amazing how we connected, because we look for jazz musicians, artists, to interview on the show. And so you sent me the track, right? And I was like, okay, Styric, let me go check him out, see what's going on. And then I listened to it. I was like, man, I love this. Let me dig a little deeper. So I started digging a little deeper. And this is totally crazy right here. And you said the world gets smaller. So this is a prime time example of it. And so I was online. I was looking you up. I was doing my homework on you now. I was like, well, see what's up with this guy here. I get to your Facebook page, right? And the first information I see on there is graduated from Central High School,
That's
Bridgeport,
correct.
Connecticut.
Yes.
I graduated from Central High School in Bridgeport, Connecticut. And I was like, I don't remember this guy. What's going on?
Yeah.
I'm looking up. And that is our connection. Right? We graduated from the same high school, but different years.
That's right.
And it's so amazing. So I started throwing past teacher names at you or something like that. And you started coming back. And I was like, oh, okay. Yeah, he went there. He actually went there.
Yeah,
That
and the
is
principal.
Yeah.
Remember who our principal was, right?
You know what? And in a quick 30-second story about that, Dr. Mayer, who is John Mayer, the musician's father.
That's correct.
And I remember I used to work in the office after school, filing stuff and just helping out. And I saw John Mayer on TV, and then I was like, wait a minute, he looks familiar. That moment flashed back inside my mind.
Yeah.
I seen him before he was ever a musician, a kid just coming to see his dad at the high school.
Isn't that crazy, man?
It is.
Yeah, I think I was my 4 years at Central. I think I was in Richard's office maybe once.
Well, I'll tell you what. Do you remember Mr. Tursky? Those names?
Yeah.
Does that ring a bell? Mr. Tursky, Miss Flanagan. I was in their office twice. Just to let you know, man. Just to let you know. So
yeah.
No problem there, but not that bad.
Yeah, it was a special thing, it was, as you say, the melting pot, and just it was it's culturally, I mean, that's something very diverse. I mean, it was interesting, and I try to tell to my kids, they're out in suburb, kind of Nashville, and they're like, what? They're looking at me like I got 2 heads.
Oh, man. I know how it is.
Fun times, man.
Yeah. So when's the last time you ever been back to Central High School? Out of curiosity.
I think it's Dave, man, it's probably been. I think I still have a brother that lives in Bridgeport, and I have a sister that lives in Milford.
Okay.
And matter of fact, I think it's been probably about 6-7 years, and I happen to be up there, and I usually go right to their house, and we're kind of going out to eat, and then I'm out, right? But I was like, just drive by, and the place looks so different.
It does. It really does.
It takes you way back, and it just, it's part of our journey,
Yeah. the old alma mater. So,
yes.
hey, man, it's been great interviewing with you and hanging out with you today, man. I mean, I definitely want you to come back again. Hey, I may be in Nashville, like I said. So, you know, we get together, we'll hang out, you know,
that'd be
greet
fun,
and all that stuff. So it'll be a pleasure to meet you, sir. Definitely.
Man, blessings to you, man, and thank you so much for having me on and reaching out and you know, if there's voice drops, like I mentioned, just feel free to reach out. And I look forward to sharing, my funk project, which is coming down, which I'm working on. Street Wave being the first single of it, and it's going to be totally funk, totally. Louis Johnson, I gotta pay homage to him and make sure I take it up a notch.
I hear you. Any release date on that? Anytime my people look for that?
I got another single that I'm working on that should be dropping in the next soon as summer hits. Okay. That one's gonna drop, and then I'll be working quite a bit with I got this. I share this. I got this thing about drummers, and I have my list of funk drummers, man, that I want to really get on some projects, man. And so I'm going to take my time and hopefully before the summer, midsummer, have the project done. And I usually drop singles, maybe every couple months or so, but I'll have the project, and I got a couple in the can that I want to just drop and share with listeners and see what they think,
Cool. Hey, thank you again for your time. I really appreciate it. And we're going to look forward to those projects. Hey, go to his website. It's Styric.com. I'm going to get this right. Styric. I had some complications with his name, trust me. But he straightened me out, ladies and gentlemen. He totally straightened me out. And I was going around repeating his name all day. So I don't get it wrong in the interview. Right? Yeah, Eric Styric. There you go. And you made it so simple for me, man.
Yeah.
And I'm ringing a bell on that one.
Yeah, and follow me on Instagram, Styric M, Styricm. I spend a lot of time on there, and I usually respond, and some collaborations have actually come out of Instagram. So
there you go.
I hooked up with J. Rod Sullivan, drummer out of Atlanta, tours with Jeffrey Osborne. He did my favorite things Christmas track, which was just a mountaintop experience. But yeah, go Styric M on Instagram and Styric M on TikTok.
Cool. Once again, like I said, thank you for your time, and that will do it this week for Can I Get a Minute? We'll be back next week with another guest. Everybody, keep spreading the love. God bless you all. Peace.
Yes,
see you next time
thank you so
around.
much for having me, bro.